Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Trackman44 here. Hey, what do you guys use to grease your compact tractors or your big tractors or whatever? I got this old thing here. My much older brother knocked it out one day and gave it to me. He doesn't need the quantity of grease and everything, that I do. He's slowing down, doesn't have quite as much of the bigger equipment. So he went ahead and finished this thing all up and gave it to me. I got roughly 30 gallons of grease in there, and it does a bang-up job, and it is super sweet. Hook an external air compressor air supply to it, and you're ready to go. I've cleaned a lot of the Zerk fittings off already. Have to take pressure off of those. Time to get the drill already. Now, obviously, you should never walk underneath your loader with the loader up without it being locked in the up position. I'm having a little trouble with these two taking grease. This one is taking it, but it's taking it very, very slowly. So I got to go ahead and make sure this one here takes. The other ones, everything else is done. I can see it going in slowly. I should say I can see it coming out slowly. This not being my tractor, I'm not familiar with all the grease fittings, but I got all of them on the loader. That's the important thing, because we're getting ready to load a bunch of logs this weekend and a bunch of round cuts and everything with the forks and the skidding tongs. So the loader pins is what's really important, because all of your movement, so much more of your movement is on those pins, and also the pressure and everything whenever you're loading some pretty heavy stuff. So I got to go ahead and check and see if there's anything on the brake or anything like that. We don't have to worry about the 3-point, because the 3-point's just got the weight container on the back. Like I say, this is a 30-gallon container of extra pressure EP extra pressure mobile grease. It's really good stuff. I think my much older brother had to go ahead and buy this at Northern Tool. I think he had the container of grease from a buddy of ours that got out of the gas station business. I think he got that container of grease. Then he made up a dolly, a set of wheels, kind of a homemade rig for it, and then put a 30-foot high-pressure hose on it. And then if you understand how these things work, think about pressure. You apply pressure to it up here. Say you're applying 100 pounds of pressure off of your air compressor, and you've got a diaphragm here that's essentially the diameter of the drum, okay, and it's pushing down with a seal up here on the very top on the lid. So you have pressure equals force times area. You can figure out how much force that is per square inch. I had a little trouble with one or two of them there on the loader, but it forced its way through eventually, slowly, but we need to take that Zerk fitting off and make sure that's all clean. But at any rate, that's how you figure your pressure being delivered by these things here. That Cliff Notes version, probably not technically correct, but it's good enough for you to understand that's how the pressure is developed, because it's nothing but an open container of grease with that diaphragm on top until you put pressure with this modulating valve that actually reduces responds to the reduction in pressure every time you pull the trigger. Sometimes you pull the trigger 2 or 3 times and it'll build the pressure back up, make a pump. Sometimes every time it'll make a pump. Depends on how fast and freely that grease is going into your particular Zerk fitting and how large that area is. On bigger tractors, you might have an 1.5-inch pin, 2-inch pin or whatever. It's going to take a lot of grease, so a lot of grease will flow out with very little restriction. whereas these little tractors only have a small pin, and sometimes it's very difficult to get some of them to take. But at any rate, I got to thank my much older brother for putting this together a couple years ago and giving it to me. And you know what? The Kubota L3301 is greased up. Everything is ready to load on to get ready to head out in the morning. Go get another load of pretty good size firewood or saw logs, whichever it is. And you know what? This is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.